When I bought my little piece of paradise, a 5-acre lot with a creek running through it, I thought I'd finally escape the chaos of city life. I wanted quiet mornings, nature, and no one telling me how tall my grass should be. Unfortunately, my slice of heaven came with something far worse than weeds, an HOA with an inflated sense of power. My name's Ethan, and I've dealt with some petty people before, but the Cedar Ridge Homeowners Association was in a league of its own. These folks acted like they ran the entire county, and their queen bee, HOA President Karen, treated every property line like it was her personal domain. The bridge project. My land bordered a small, beautiful creek. It wasn't very deep, but during heavy rain, it turned into a muddy mess. The only way to get to the back half of my property was to either trudge through knee-deep water or drive around a neighboring lot, something I wasn't allowed to do. So, being a man who preferred solutions over complaints, I decided to build a small wooden bridge across the creek. I drew up simple plans, nothing crazy, just a solid timber structure about 20 feet long and 8 feet wide. I got the proper county permits since the creek ran through public waterways. Construction took about 2 weekends with some help from my brother. It was sturdy, looked great, and finally allowed me to get my ATV and mower to the other side of the property. That's when the trouble began. The HOA invasion. The Monday after I finished the bridge, I got a knock on my door. There she was, Karen, wearing her HOA badge like she was part of the FBI. She had her clipboard tucked under her arm and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Good morning, Ethan. I noticed you did some construction work on your property over the weekend. I nodded proudly. Yeah, I built a bridge over the creek. Finally got tired of jumping over puddles every time it rained. Her face twitched like I'd just confessed to a felony. Did you submit an application to the HOA Architectural Review Committee for this project? I frowned. Why would I need to? It's fully on my land, and I got the county's approval. Karen clicked her pen, scribbling on her clipboard. All exterior modifications must be approved by the HOA. Bridges, fences, decks, sheds, those are all listed under property alterations in Section 4, subparagraph 3. I laughed, thinking she was joking. Karen, it's a bridge over a creek that only I cross. It's not visible from the street, and it's 200 feet from the nearest property line. She didn't flinch. I'll need to issue you a $350 architectural violation fine for unauthorized construction. You'll also need to submit retroactive approval paperwork. That's when I realized she wasn't kidding. The HOA, fine. 2 days later, I got an official-looking letter in the mail from Cedar Ridge HOA. It was printed on fancy paper, complete with their logo and legal jargon. It claimed I owed $350 for an unapproved structure, payable within 14 days. Now, here's the thing, I had read my deed and HOA bylaws carefully before I bought the property. I knew exactly what they could and couldn't control. According to the plats, the HOA's authority only covered the front half of my lot, where the road and utilities were connected. The back 3 acres, where my bridge sat, were technically outside HOA jurisdiction. I had bought it that way intentionally. So, instead of paying the fine, I decided to have a little fun. My first move, the paper response. I drafted a formal letter addressed to the HOA board. Dear Cedar Ridge HOA, I have received your notice regarding an alleged violation concerning the construction of a bridge on my property. Please note that the structure in question is located on the portion of my land outside the HOA's designated jurisdiction, as recorded in County Plat #1147, Parcel B. Additionally, the structure was fully permitted and inspected by the County Public Works Department. As such, I will not be paying any HOA fines related to this project. Respectfully, Ethan Parker. I mailed it with a copy of the official county permit and property map. A week later, I got another letter, this time marked, Final Notice Before Enforcement. Apparently, they didn't care about maps, legal boundaries, or county permits. They cared about control. Karen's escalation. A few days later, I came home from work to find orange tape strung across my new bridge. A bright red, HOA Stop Work Order sign was nailed right to the railing. They even left a note that said, greater than, all structures must be reviewed and approved by the HOA Architectural Committee. Fines will continue to accrue until compliance is met. Now I was furious. Not only had they trespassed onto my property, but they had vandalized something I'd built with my own hands. I immediately called the county sheriff's office, who sent out a deputy. After explaining the situation, he walked down to the creek with me, looked at the tape, then shook his head. Greater than, yeah, this is clearly private property. They've got no jurisdiction back here. You want me to file a report? Oh, I definitely do, I said. The deputy filed an official trespassing and vandalism report against the HOA. I made sure to get copies. Round 2. Legal firepower. Next, I contacted a local property attorney I knew from my construction business. I showed him the HOA letters, my deed, the county permit, and the sheriff's report. He grinned. Greater than, oh, this is going to be fun. They've overstepped big time. We sent the HOA a cease and desist letter demanding they remove all signage and refrain from entering my property. The letter also stated that if any further harassment occurred, we'd pursue civil damages for trespassing and interference with lawful use of property. 2 days later, Karen showed up at my door again, furious. Greater than, you really called the sheriff on us. You could have handled this through the HOA channels. I smiled. You walked onto my property without permission and nailed garbage to my bridge. What channel was that, Karen? Greater than, we have authority over all properties within the Cedar Ridge community. I handed her a copy of my parcel map, highlighting the section outside HOA control. Greater than, not this one. I made sure of that when I bought it. She blinked, visibly thrown off. Greater than, that can't be right. Oh, it's very right, I said. And since you trespassed, you'll be hearing from my attorney if you step foot back there again. She stomped off without another word. The board meeting showdown. I figured that was the end of it. But Karen wasn't the type to admit defeat. 2 weeks later, I got a formal invitation to the next HOA meeting, claiming they were reviewing potential community safety concerns related to unapproved construction. I decided to attend. The room was full. About 30 homeowners, the board, and Karen sitting at the front like a queen addressing her court. She started the meeting by holding up pictures of my bridge. Greater than, as you can see, this structure could pose liability risks to the community. If someone were to cross it and get hurt, the HOA could be held responsible. I raised my hand. Greater than, correction, it's on my private property. No one besides me can legally access it. Karen shot back. Greater than, you can't just build things that might affect the neighborhood without HOA approval. That's when I pulled out my ace. A large printed copy of my county property map, the deed, and the sheriff's trespass report. Greater than, this is the official county plat. Everything behind this red line, I pointed, is outside the HOA boundary. You have zero jurisdiction there. And this, I said, holding up the sheriff's report, proves your board committed trespassing and vandalism by entering my property and posting signage. The room went silent. A few homeowners actually gasped. One guy in the back even started laughing quietly. I continued. Greater than, you tried to fine me $350 for something that's not under your authority, and then you broke the law trying to enforce it. If you don't issue a written apology and rescind every false notice, I'll be filing a civil complaint by next Monday. The HOA board members looked nervous, whispering among themselves. Karen's face turned bright red. After a tense few moments, one of the other board members cleared his throat and said, Greater than, we'll review this matter privately and get back to you, Mr. Parker. I just smiled. Please do. The fallout. 3 days later, I received an email from the HOA's vice president, not Karen. It read, Greater than, Dear Mr. Parker, after reviewing your property boundaries and the applicable county plats, the board acknowledges that the area in question falls outside HOA jurisdiction. We apologize for any inconvenience or misunderstanding caused. The violation notice has been rescinded, and no fines will be assessed. Sincerely, Cedar Ridge HOA Board. I laughed so hard I nearly spilled my coffee. But I wasn't done. The final move, making them regret it. Remember the trespassing report. My attorney had already filed a claim for damages for the time, materials, and defacement of my bridge. It wasn't much, just $1,500, but it was enough to make a point. A month later, the HOA's insurance quietly paid the claim to settle it out of court. Apparently, the board didn't want any more bad publicity after what happened at that meeting. To add insult to injury, the county posted a public clarification that my bridge was fully permitted and privately maintained. The HOA now had to update their community map to reflect that my rear acreage was not under their control. Karen ended up resigning from the board 3 months later. Rumor was, the other members pushed her out after all the embarrassment and legal bills she caused. Epilogue. The quiet victory. Now, I sit on my porch every morning, sipping coffee while looking at that bridge. It's not just a path across the creek anymore, it's a reminder that bullies only have power if you let them. Sometimes I even catch HOA members walking by, eyeing the bridge like it's a monument to their defeat. I wave and smile every time. And every so often, a new neighbor will ask me for advice about dealing with the HOA. My answer is always the same. Greater than, know your rights, read your deed, and never let anyone tell you what you can do with land they don't own. Because in the end, I didn't just build a bridge over water, I built one over the HOA's arrogance.